Hi, how's it going, everybody? So, today I'd like to talk about GW paint pots. So, I hear a lot of complaining about the lids and how they tend to easily kind of clog up and it dries out the paint. But I think I've discovered that the real problem is basically shaking the paint right before you open it. Because when you do that, the paint gets on the little lip or the tongue of the upper part of the lid, and then when you open it, and then you keep it open, it kind of pools towards the back of the top of the lid, and then if you just close it like that, then paint tends to get squished in between the lid. So, but if you don't shake the paint and you just stir it with like a toothpick or something, then that doesn't really happen, and then I think you'll find it's much cleaner. The lid is much cleaner, and that should basically alleviate the problem. There may be a little bit of residue on the top part of the lid, just even when you buy a new paint and then you open it for the first time, but usually you can take a brush and kind of wipe it away, and it's not a big deal. So, and I know in all the GW marketing and tutorials they say to give the pot a good shake before using it, but lately I've been experimenting with just using toothpicks to stir the paint before using it instead of shaking it, and I'm noticing it doesn't pool up on the upper part of the lid. So I think I'm gonna keep doing this for the foreseeable future and see how it goes. I mean, I think you can still shake it, but it's just when you shake it and then immediately open it, you have a lot of paint on the top of the lid, and then that's gonna pool into the back of the lid, and then that's gonna cause the clogs and stuff. So, and I know shaking it is easier and more convenient than using a toothpick, but I mean, I think it's worth it if you can preserve the paint and make it last longer and just have a cleaner experience. I know some people say dropper bottles are better, and I think there's definitely a good argument to be made for that. But I mean, I don't think they're perfect either, because I know sometimes they have a tendency to like get clogged, and then you push harder on the bottle to pour out the paint, and then it just kind of explodes and gets paint everywhere. So I feel like they aren't exactly perfect either. But uh, you could argue maybe they're better than GW's design. And I think the real problem is just the little on the inside of the lid. There's like a little tongue that holds paint when you open the pot, where you can kind of get paint on your brush and then put it on your palette. But when there's paint on the little tongue of the lid, then there's paint on the bottom of the tongue, and then that pools into the bottom of the cap, and then that's what causes the clogging. So I mean, it feels like that's a design feature that is kind of designed to be able to hold paint on that little lip or the tongue, whatever you want to call it, and then you put it on your brush. But I feel like the process of doing it that way is generally going to clog up or dirty up the lid. So if you want your paints to last longer, you don't want any paint to be in the lid, then try not shaking the paint and just using like a toothpick or something, or one of those little chemical vortex mixers. I don't know, that might work. I haven't tried it. And I know the other day I went to a Hobby Lobby and I saw a Vallejo dropper bottle paint, and it was actually more expensive than a GW paint, and that really kind of that I had to do a double take because I didn't believe it. But so I mean, it probably did have a little more paint than a GW pot, but I think each pot design or each bottle design kind of has its own pros and cons, and as long as you kind of work with whatever you have, it should work. Quite honestly, I really like the paint line. I really like the base layers and the more pigmented colors and just the variety of colors. I find I don't have to mix at all usually. Sometimes I mix, but it's kind of rare. It's usually for just special characters or something. I know I know about 10 years ago with some of the older Games Workshop paint, back when they had a much smaller line of paints, you had to mix a lot. They just had some really basic colors. They had like 2 or 3 blues, a couple of browns. Uh, they didn't have that many colors compared to today, and you had to mix a lot. And I would make little uh, mixing pots full of custom colors, and I try to label them, and I get confused. So, I mean, I really like the colors that they have. It's just, to be honest, the paint pots, the plastic seems a little flimsy compared to some of the older pots. They felt like more of a sturdier plastic. But I mean, it is what it is. So this is just my tip for the day. If you're having a hard time with getting paint clogged in the lids of the Games Workshop paints, just try not shaking them. Try using a toothpick and stirring the paint, and then I think you'll find that paint's not going to get gunked up in the lid, and that's going to help you to create a tighter seal and then help the paint to last longer. So, and I know some people like to buy little empty dropper bottles and then put GW paint in it, but I think that's a big time sink, and you have to dilute the paint, and you have to buy the bottles, you have to buy funnels, you have to buy the paint thinner. It's a whole big process, and I think I just try to make the most of the GW paints when I use them. So this is just my tip for the day. Have a great day. Leave a comment below. What's your experience with GW paints? If you like this content, please consider liking and subscribing, and have a great day. Thank you. Bye-bye.